have the same topic. So today's topic was Surefire. So Surefire is now in an audio format and it's also in a video format. And some of the information cross-pollinates so you can see that information twice so that it can be put into your working memory. And there's research that says you need to see something 3 or more times in order for it to start sticking with you. Good morning, Regina. And good morning, Mahatma. And so the final thing is research has found that longhand note taking can help cement info more into the brain more effectively than digital note taking. So what happens is now we are in the age of my cousin is now in college. Everybody has a laptop, so they're taking notes off of their laptops. I obviously have been out of college many moons this year. It'll be 30 years since I graduated from college in April. And so as a result, I'm still old school. So right now, I'm coming to you from a spiral notebook from Target with an old school big pen. And that's how I learn. So I do this, and then I have a red pen as well that I use for my reading. I've been note taking this way since the mid 90s. And what happens is the research says technology is great. We're using technology right now, but in order for it to really become part of your brain and part of your working memory, you still need to write it down. And that's why we find that when we're speaking to people who are very much tech savvy, they go straight to, well, let me look it up. Well, let me look it up. Let me look it up because it's not up here. So there is a lot of information and it's great. I like technology. Almost paperless other than me taking notes. Everything else is digital for me. So it's having the combination of the two together so that your brain will start working, because that's why years ago, the average reading comprehension was at a ninth grade reading level, and now it's at a sixth grade reading level. Some would argue a fifth grade because the information is coming in, but you're not retaining it because you don't have to, because you just look it up again. But the brain is saying, hey, give me 1 second, ladies and gentlemen. Did that go through? Okay. So that's the third one, which is learn in multiple ways. The fourth one is teach what you are learning. So teach what you are learning to someone else. And when you have a presentation in class, remember back in the day, whether you were in middle school, elementary, even show and tell, all the way through your college years, if you attended university or college, you had group projects, or you had the teacher would give, or the instructor professor would give you a broad topic and then say, okay, do research on this. Greek mythology is something that Noah had to do. And so then you stand in front of the class, either with a group or yourself, and you give that information to everybody else. So that's teaching someone else what it is that you learned. At Frito-Lay, yes, so no, you said, I think the fact that you can look things up is the reason why we don't see as many books in people's houses, because you don't have to have a book on a topic or a cookbook, because you could just look it up. I think reading still has value. Done a lot of projects in Greek mythology. Yes, all of that is correct. And so at Frito-Lay, what we had was train the trainer. And so I've been a part of those certifications and then go off and train people how to train other people. So that's another example of it. And then teach what you are learning continued. So you start by translating the information into your own words. So I research and then I take that information and say, well, how does this apply to real leadership? And so then I put it through the real leadership funnel or real leader meter, and then I present that information to you. So while I do have notes, you can clearly see that I can talk for an hour. There's no way I have a written hour's worth of notes down here. So I take that subject and then I present it to you and say, oh, okay, well, how does this apply to your brain? How does this apply to real leadership? How does it apply to you and the principles of real leadership and how you can get that done? So when you're starting by translating information into your own words, this process alone helps you solidify new knowledge in your brain. So you read it, and then we all have our own way of speaking to ourselves. So once you say it to yourself in the way that you speak to yourself, it's going to be solidified in your brain. Then you find some way to share what you've learned. So anyone who's in the daily challenge, you take what you learn and then you go off and have a conversation with someone, and that information stays in your brain. And that's the whole point of that challenge, is for you to learn how to communicate effectively, but for you to also learn information that ordinarily you wouldn't be talking about. The other part of that challenge is most people talk about what they've seen or heard that day. And so, Zay, did you hear about such and such? And then did you do this? And did you find out about